Gaby Piccirilli. I'm a therapist. That's the real short answer. But the real answer is that my mission is to add more life into people's years and more years to their life. And I want to do that with whatever knowledge, intuition, messages, help that I can provide, information. And today we're happen to be speaking about foot reflexology, and I want to focus on that because number one, my background is that I was never, I never aspired to be a foot reflexologist when I was little. This came about out of a need to help myself, actually. When I was 21 years old, I was really ill, and nobody could figure out really what it was that was the root cause of this until I came across an incredible reflexologist by the name of Wanda Bratko. She was in Toronto at the time, from Poland though, and I had this incredible synchronicity, this moment that I could have been in her hands, in her office, in her chair, and she turned my life around in so many ways. I mean, first of all, I was helped by her healing hands through foot reflexology. But also later on, as my health regained and I gained back my vitality, I decided that this is my mission, this is my life, and I need to move forward spreading this message, how foot reflexology changed my life, my career, the trajectory of my entire being. So that's just a little brief background on how I even got into this incredible practice of reflexology, and how I've now, 13 years later, I've built RPT Health, which stands for Regenerative Pathway Therapy. And it is a combination of all the things that I did, number one, to help myself, but also all the people, all the experiences, all the therapies that I have experienced along this journey to better health for myself. And I've put it together in a modality that I think is comprehensive. It doesn't just include the physical body, it's our environment, it's our connections, it's our mental state, it's our connection with the universe, God, our higher self, whatever it is that you call it. And it's this just all-encompassing modality and method that I feel helped me. I mean, I know it helped me tremendously, and I'm on a mission to spread this to others. So today, if we're going to be speaking about foot reflexology, I'm so passionate about this because this is where I started. And really, I think if I hadn't had the experience that I did, it'd be hard for me to really spread the message that it turned my life around, my health around. And just from, if you break it down simply, just from touching the foot in a certain way, how it can affect your body and how it can change the energetic state of your body. I later learned that, well, it's not just on the feet. We can do reflexology on the hands. We can do it on the ears. We can also help ourselves on our face. And so I've incorporated all of that into my practice as well. But today we can focus on perhaps the feet and the ears, because I feel that if you are in various stages of wherever you are along your health journey, if you're bedridden, or if you have a little bit of energy and you can devote that time and your healing hands to help yourself, it would require a different level of energy. And so I want to sort of address the whole gamut. And why don't we start with perhaps the foot? If you have access to your feet, or if you have the energy and you're able to do this, it would, in my opinion, be the greatest thing that you could do for yourself and your energy and your health. And understanding that the body, the micro, is in your foot is the start of all of this. So if you took, let's say, a photo of your actual physical body and you shrunk it down and you imposed it on the bottom of your feet, that would give you a guide as to where each organ, where each gland, where each part of the body lies. And that's sort of the easiest and the best way to understand the map of the foot. And the left side corresponds with everything that's physically on the left side of your body. And the right foot is everything that physically sits on the right side of your body. You put them together and you have the whole. So if we're going to start, let's say I'm going to use my little foot model here, because this is going to be easy for me to.
I love that. Actually, that's a great way to start. And for people that just tuned in, we're talking to Gaby Piccirilli, and she was just talking about like her integrated approach to basically tuning the body up and today we're going to learn simple methods just by using the reflexology points on your foot, which correlate to each of your organs and bodily processes. And so what's super cool about this is that you're going to teach us, what spots correlate to what. And we can show a little graph of this later on that you provided us, which I think is amazing. And then, all of us at home, like when we're feeling off or we're feeling pain in a certain area, you can go right to that spot on your foot or your hand or your ears, as you mentioned. And then you can sort of self-help yourself. You don't need to go out to the doctor. You can do it while you're resting or while you're in bed or, doing whatever work it into your daily routine. So show me your foot.
So here it is. Here's my little model of my foot. And just before we start with that, I just want to also say that if you don't have much strength in your hands, perhaps your hands are weakened by your state, or you just simply don't have the strength yet, because this takes very different muscles sort of to work with your fingers and your hands. And I just want to offer another solution, and this has worked for me really well, is I have all sorts of stones around that I collect and I buy wherever I am in the world. And they, something that sort of resonates with you, that you're drawn to. If you love, for example, rose quartz or any other stone that you might have, or you can go out and buy, then I would suggest you can even use this for now, just to kind of start working with your hands and really get the sense of touch, developing the areas, the senses of touch. So I just wanted to offer that because it will come into handy into some spots, and I'm going to talk about it later. But I just wanted to mention that.
It's a great idea, and the stones that you choose, they all have different energies, also, like shungite and jade stone and rose quartz, and so you can actually use the frequencies of the stones in conjunction with the points that you're grabbing at the same time. What a awesome idea! Super cool.
So that's one thing. And before you actually start on working on yourself, I just want you to take a minute right now and just look around the space that you're in, the room that you're in, the chair that you're in. I want you to notice how you feel in your space right now. And before I begin any session, I intuitively, intentionally set the mood for what it is that I'm about to do. So I set the energy for how I want the following 20 minutes or 30 minutes that I will be working on someone or more. How do I want the area to feel, the energy of the room? If there's something that you love, for example, fresh plants, flowers, life force that gives you that sense of living, of life, then surround yourself with that. If there's something the opposite that doesn't quite make you feel right, then move it away or get rid of it and set the tone for where it is that you're going to be healing yourself. Remember, I just want to share that you cannot heal in the same environment that you got sick in. You have to make the environment conducive to your healing. So whether it's surrounding yourself with those things or just tidying it up, decluttering it, maybe making it fresher, opening the windows, getting some fresh air if you can. And those are all really easy things that you can do to set the tone and the mood. The other thing is, speaking about frequency, is that I always play music that I select based on what I feel would be best for that scenario. And it could be different frequency of music, for example, 432 hertz, if that's something that you love. Just explore this idea of sound as a tool to also heal you, because it will also set the mood and the tone and the energy for the room. So I just wanted to offer those two little tips before we begin.
We all have favorite songs we like, and your head and your mind and your memory goes right there. And so really we're tuning our hearts, our brains, and our bodies up at the same time.
Exactly.
And mostly I loved what you said about, oftentimes, when you're so sick and you're in bed, like you don't feel good, and there's a little bit of that negative energy around you in the room. And just being conscious to shift that energy a little bit can make all the difference in just setting a nice, healthy platform, creating a new, fresh page, and just
Absolutely.
kind of moving forward in a positive way, which just, these are all subtle energies, by the way, but when you do a little this, a little that, a little this, a little that, all of a sudden you got a really good platform. These are things you can do tomorrow. Actually, you can do as soon as you get off this episode and just
right now.
make a difference. Try it out. I mean, there's no better time than now, right? So,
absolutely.
Okay, keep going, because I'm just recording all these tips and I can't wait to list them, after we're all done, so people can kind of reflect on this episode and then look you up afterwards to learn more. So keep going.
Thank you. So the last thing is that also, why not engage the sense of your smell? So right now, before we started this conversation together, I did this exact exercise. I set this energy for this room so that I could be of the highest service that I could, the highest vibrational, my surroundings would have this high frequency and high vibration. And I also just allowed the Therasage air diffuser to surround the space with smell. And I used a certain smell that I love, that reminds me of a garden, that reminds me of being outside, that gives me vitality, it gives me life, it makes me feel alive. So I just wanted to also add that little piece, that smell is also very important. So if there's a certain, if it's lavender or something that you love, then why not surround yourself with that? So let's move on to the foot then. So if you are in a position that you can have access to your foot, why don't we start with the very top, which is the most important, in my opinion, area that needs stimulation, that needs the work, and that is the toes and the base of the toes. So when I refer to the toes, I'm talking about literally every single little part of the entire toe. And it's important that you don't miss this base of the toes on the front and on the back underneath here. And what this refers to is the head and the neck. The most amount of lymphatic glands actually reside in the areas of our upper thoracic area. So that would be our throat and our bronchial areas, in order to protect us from inhaling toxicity, etc. And so most times when there is an opportunity to release the lymphatic system, it will start with this area here of the toes, the base of the toes, specifically in between the toes. Now, if you just touch your feet right now, or your hands, if you have access to your hands, this will work equally well with the hands. I just want you to pay attention to the temperature of your hands and your feet, and use the palm of your hand in order to assess where it is that it's a little bit cooler or warmer, or maybe it's a little bit cold and clammy and it doesn't feel too comfortable. Just pay attention, do a little scan as to where it is that you feel, and just run the palm of your hand across all the areas, and just for a second, take note of where it is that it's cold. Now, I would recommend that you write this down, because you can track your progress through this. I did this when I was going through my health journey, and it was amazing to see that 6 months prior or 4 months prior, my whole foot, the entire foot, was freezing all the time. And that sort of indicates some abnormality. It shouldn't be cold all the time.
I love journaling. I mean, that's sort of cool in general, like many of the Lyme patients and customers we talk to, we often have them journal because the progress of their, as they're moving back to health, right? Some of these systems are tuning up very subtly. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, like just like you're saying, you may start off the beginning of the month. Maybe you're feeling cold spots or hot spots or areas that are more sensitive, right? And then you look at your journal at the end of the month, and you right away you notice that some of those things that you had in the beginning of the month have now shifted. Maybe they've gone away completely. And
Exactly.
so where before you go, God, there's no way I'm ever going to get out of this rabbit hole I'm in with this Lyme challenge and the co-infections, and now I've got mold or whatever's going on. You actually can really track these subtle changes, right? With your journal, and then you can look back and go, whoa, wait a minute, I have made some progress. And
Mm-hmm.
then you tune this up and you tune that up, and before you know it, like now you're having more good days than bad days, and you're back on your feet.